The compound buzzed like it always did before night drills. Clipboards slapped on tables. Engines fired in the dark. Comms chirped with encrypted noise no one outside would understand. Inside the far supply tent, a fluorescent light flickered above shelves of folded gear. Rope, batteries, MREs, night optics, duct tape rolled tight and labeled in Sharpie. And behind the counter, sitting on an overturned crate, was the old man. Most called him Mac. No one knew if that was his first name or last. He didn't wear base issue. Just a dark windbreaker. Canvas pants, scarred hands, no radio, no earpiece, no badge. He just showed up. Always before the first truck. Always with the gear already sorted. He folded things by hand, shirts, packs, even SATCOM blankets. Tight. Efficient. The way someone would if they had once packed fast under fire. Most of the younger guys ignored him, except to sign out headlamps or curse when they couldn't find something. But he never reacted. Never corrected. Just wrote the item down on a clipboard with a stub of pencil and slid it forward without looking. Lieutenant Chase noticed him the first week. New to the team. Comms specialist. Sharp. Fast. Full of the latest protocols. He'd seen Mac rearranging the antenna coils on a pallet. Not to move them, just to make the lengths even. Chase raised an eyebrow. You trained for this or something? He asked. Mac didn't look up. Just hate tangles. Chase half laughed. That's a new one. Mac didn't answer. Didn't explain. Didn't even glance up as he tightened the last loop and walked back behind the crates. No sound. No signal. Just quiet. The kind that settled deeper than Chase expected. And for some reason he couldn't name, it bothered him. 2 nights later, the first glitch happened. Chase was running a final signal check before the boats launched. 4 SEAL teams headed out in 2-hour intervals for coastal recon drills. All standard. Sat-link clean. Frequency locks holding. GPS synced. He ran diagnostics twice, then crossed the compound to grab spare radio seals from supply. Inside the tent, Mac was exactly where he always was. Squatting by a folding table, re-rolling power cord into coils so tight they looked like machine wound spools. Chase walked in without greeting. Need 3 seals, he said. Mac didn't move right away. Just finished the coil, tied it, set it gently in the bin. Then reached under the counter and slid a small tray forward. Chase picked one up, checked it, frowned. Old stock, he muttered. Mac didn't blink. They still work. Chase raised an eyebrow. Maybe back in '09. Mac finally looked up. Just once. You're trusting too much in the screen. Chase tilted his head. Excuse me? Mac tapped the tray. Signal strength looks good until wind shifts the node. Then the ocean takes what it wants. Chase folded his arms. We're running encrypted frequency with triple redundancy satellite bounce. Ocean can't take that. Mac nodded, slowly. Until it does. The tent went quiet. Only the flicker of the light. Chase held the seal another second, then dropped it in his pouch. As he turned to leave, he hesitated. You used to do this? He asked, not facing him. Mac didn't answer. Just returned to the next coil of cord, starting again, hands steady. Chase waited. Nothing. No defense. No story. Just a man folding rope like the ocean might test it again. And something about that silence. Not empty. Just unfinished. The boats launched at 2000. 4 teams, 4 directions. 2-hour windows staggered over open water drills, tight timing, and 1 return point. Comms were checked twice before departure. All green. Chase stayed in the forward operations tent, headset on, watching the console blink through the night. At 22:07, Team 2 dropped off radar. No warning. No fade. Just signal lost. He tried hailing them on Channel 2. Nothing. Rebooted the SAT relay. Rechecked GPS link. Switched to backup. Still nothing. Probable bounce misfire, one of the techs said. Chase didn't agree, but kept quiet. By 22:20, Team 3 cut out too. Same zone. Same path. He stood up, headset looped around his neck, breath tight. That's when Bragg walked in. Senior petty officer. Muscle first, signal later. He glanced at the screens, then laughed. Looks like your digital wizardry's falling apart, Chase. Chase didn't laugh. This isn't hardware. This is environment, he said. Bragg shrugged. Then tell the environment to stop. Another chuckle from the corner. Chase turned back to the console, fingers flying across keys. Still nothing. No ping. No pulse. Then, from outside the tent, Someone cleared their throat. Chase looked up. Mac stood in the doorway. Same jacket. No radio. Nothing in his hands. Just watching. Bragg saw him too. Hey look, the janitor brought backup. You here to mop the bandwidth? More laughs. Mac didn't move. Didn't flinch. He stepped in slow. Eyes on the screen. Then calm and flat. Check channel 3. Chase blinked. What? Mac stepped closer. They're riding low in the sound. The wind's punching your line eastward. Check channel 3. Surface frequency. You'll catch the bleed. Bragg scoffed. That's not even in rotation anymore. Mac looked at him once, then back to Chase. Check it. Chase hesitated, fingers hovering over the console, then typed it in. The signal popped instantly. 1 bar. Weak. Dirty. But there. A voice came through, broken but real. Sierra team, drifting, lost prime, copy? Chase locked onto the bleed. Boosted gain. Another voice. Team 3, this is base, we have you. The tent fell silent. No one laughed. Mac stepped back. Didn't say a word. Just turned toward the flap and walked back into the dark. Bragg didn't say anything else, and Chase didn't take his eyes off the screen. Not for a long time. The boats returned at 0143. Rattled. Salt-drenched. Engines running hot from drift, but alive. Chase stayed in the ops tent long after they docked, replaying the signal in his head. Check channel 3. No one should have known that. That channel hadn't been used in 8 years, phased out during comms upgrades. The only reason it even still worked was because the fallback satellite hadn't been decommissioned. Mac knew it. And more than that, he felt it. The wind, the waterline, the way the ocean bends signal when no tech can predict it. Chase needed answers. By 0300, he was back inside the main admin building, hunched over a login terminal, coffee gone cold. He searched personnel archives, civilian contractors, base supply. Nothing. No Mac. No MC anything. No supply clerk with a matching description. He tried cross-checking logistics rotations, then brought in to decommission tactical support personnel. That's when he found it. Not in the standard listings, but buried under. Legacy encrypted. Obsolete clearance. R. McKenna. Chief Electronics Technician, SEAL Maritime Detachment. Active, 1982 to 2006. Specialty, long-range low-profile comms. Operations attached, 29. Commendations undisclosed. Final note, refused formal retirement ceremony. Voluntary reassignment, support services, coastal rotation. Chase stared at the screen. The words felt unreal. Not because of the file, but because none of it had ever been spoken. Not once. All this time McKenna, had been right there, folding antenna cable and sweeping dust off crates. Not out of obligation. Out of something quieter. Something older. Chase leaned back, eyes on the screen. The cursor blinked. And in that silence something shifted. Respect, yes, but deeper. Understanding. The kind that doesn't come from orders or protocol. The kind that only comes when someone saves lives without ever saying they could. The next morning, the supply tent was quiet. Quieter than usual. No sound of crates shifting. No coils being re-rolled. Just stillness. Chase stepped in early. Earlier than he'd ever arrived. He didn't know what he was looking for. Maybe Mac. Maybe a nod. Maybe nothing. But the stool behind the counter was empty. He waited. 10 minutes passed. Then he saw it. On the folding rack, where the signal blankets were kept, someone had placed a box. Plain. Unmarked. Cardboard faded from years of handling. Inside, one coil of black antenna cable. Perfectly looped. No twist. No tension. Tied with a piece of canvas strip, the kind seals used before power cord was standard. Under it, folded in half, was a cloth square. Chase opened it slowly. It wasn't a flag. It was a comms patch. Old school. Sealed detachment support group, hand-stitched, frayed at the corners, still held its shape. Inside the fold, a note, written in faded ink, all block letters. Frequencies fail. You don't. Trust your gut, not the gauge. You'll know when it's your turn. No name. No signature. Just wait. Chase didn't move for a while. Didn't speak. He repacked the coil gently, closed the box, and kept the patch in his hand. He didn't put it in his locker. Didn't hang it up. He slid it into the inside lining of his field pouch, where it would stay. Not to remind him what happened, but to remind him who had been right there. Watching. Listening. Ready. Mac didn't return. Not the next morning. Not for the rest of the week. No one said anything official. The duty board in the supply tent stayed blank. No reassignment. No replacement. Just space. The gear still got folded. Not perfectly. But Chase tried. Quietly. Early. He didn't tell anyone why. Didn't ask for help. He swept the floor once each morning. Coiled cables by hand. Labeled bins with a pencil stub he found behind the crate where Mac used to sit. The box Mac had left remained untouched in the back rack. No one dared move it. But every now and then, someone would pause by it. A recruit, a diver, a senior chief, just stand there for a second. Like they felt something. Or remembered they should. At the edge of the tent, the radio monitor glowed as always. Green. Steady. Chase added a small strip of tape across the side. Nothing bold. Just one line. CH3 equals fallback. Ask first. The senior comms officer didn't question it. Didn't remove it. Just nodded once when he saw it, then walked on. One night during a storm drill, an encrypted line spiked across a shallow band no one had monitored in years. The new tech panicked. Chase didn't. He adjusted the frequency manually. Tuned with instinct. Caught the signal before it faded. The instructor blinked. How'd you know? Chase didn't look away from the screen. He just said, sound changed. You feel it. No one questioned him after that. And no one asked again where Mac had gone. Because in that tent, where the coils sat clean and the silence held steady, everyone knew. Some people don't need to be seen to still be there. Weeks passed. Drills rotated. Boats cycled. New techs came through. But something about the comms tent had changed. Not louder. Not cleaner. Just steadier. The cables stayed coiled. The folding rack stayed neat. And every now and then, when a recruit hesitated during prep, they'd glance toward the corner, where Chase now sat. Same stool. Same jacket. No fanfare. He didn't give lectures. Didn't bark orders. But when someone fumbled a seal or patched a wire wrong, he'd walk over, adjust it quietly, and say only what needed saying. Too tight. Wrong angle. Or sometimes just, listen. They started calling him Mac 2. Not out loud, not in front of him. But when the signal ran clean and drills ended with no surprises, someone would nod and say, Mac 2 was on shift. Makes sense. One night, a new recruit lingered after gear check. He stood by the bench, shifting his weight, holding a connector he hadn't logged yet. Chase looked up. Something wrong? The recruit shrugged. I've read the manuals. I've studied the signal charts. But sometimes it still feels like I'm waiting for permission to trust what I know. Chase stood. Walked over. He took the connector, turned it once in his hand, then handed it back. Permission's not coming, he said. The recruit frowned. So how do I know? Chase gave a quiet half-smile. When you stop needing to ask. The recruit nodded. Didn't fully understand. But he would. Eventually. The wind shifted just after midnight. Light breeze off the coast. Dry static in the air. Inside the tent, the monitors glowed. Chase sat alone. The others had rotated out. Gear stacked. Lights dimmed. He didn't move. Just sat with one hand resting on the desk. Fingers near the manual tuner Mac had once insisted be left connected. Not needed anymore. Not officially. But Chase had never unplugged it. The old box still hummed faintly, always listening. He reached under the desk and pulled out the patch. The one Mac had left folded in the coil. He'd kept it all this time. Not for show, not for memory. For presence. He ran his thumb across the edge of the stitching. It was fraying now, but the shape still held. Outside, a soft voice came over the radio. Unclear. Fragmented. But Chase didn't flinch. Didn't reach for the protocol book. He leaned forward, closed his eyes for half a second, and adjusted the frequency 2 notches down. The voice snapped into place. Base, this is Bravo. Surface fog rolling in fast. Lost horizon. Holding bearing. Do you copy? Chase pressed the mic gently. Copy, Bravo. We've got you. Keep low. Trust your drift. The line still holds. No emotion. No celebration. Just signal. Steady. Clear. He set the mic down. Then sat back. Hands folded. Nothing moved. But the tent felt full. Like someone else was still sitting there. Not speaking. Not visible. But felt. In the silence between each pulse. Chase didn't turn on the extra lights. He didn't stand. He just listened. And when the signal cleared again, he whispered what only one man before him had ever said in that exact moment. Still with us.